Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Rachel Klein, and I will be your presenter today. Today, we're going to be talking about adding a new family in membership, and then we are also going to talk about linking adults in that family together as one giving unit, and then how to assign them a giver number. All right, let's go ahead and get started because we do have a decent amount of information to go over. So how to create a family. So something you need to keep in mind when working in membership, whether you're entering a family of 7 or you're entering just one single person, you always have to create the house first. So I kind of think of it as like building the house first and then putting the people in it that belong or live in that house. Okay. And when I open up people here, you can see on the left-hand side, this is what we call the family record. And then over here on the right-hand side, this is the individual record. So the family gets built here. Each person that makes up the family will be shown down here. And then the information about those individuals will be over here on the right. Okay. So first things first, I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of just adding my family, say if they joined your church. Top left, you have to hit that Add Family button first. Once you hit Add Family, then you're going to come in here and you are going to select what category that new family belongs in. By default, you're going to have members or visitors. Now, you might have more of these if you have additional categories that have been created within your church windows, but just select the one that's assigned and then say OK. Your family number is going to automatically be populated and filled in there for you. This is not something you can change. This is not their giver or their envelope number. This is just a number the program is going to assign to this family. Mailing label, that can be done next. The mailing label is the family's name. So for example, if you were going to write out and label an envelope to put something in the mail for this family, how do you want their family name to appear? I'm going to do Mitchell and Rachel Klein. You can do Mr. and Mrs. You can just do Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell Klein, Mitchell and Rachel. Whatever you want to put in that box is up to you. The only thing I would recommend is try to keep them consistent. So if it's typically both first names with an ampersand and then the last name, stick with that if you can. Okay. You can do Mr. and Mrs. if you want to, or whatever labels you want to put on those people for their family. It's up to you. Sometimes people just like to do the first and last names now, but it's completely up to your church and how you would like to do that. Address. This is where you are going to put in the family's address. You have to hit the plus sign here first. You can't click in here and just start typing. It won't save it, but hit the plus sign first. And then a new window is going to appear. And this is where you're going to put the family main address in. Okay, so we'll put an address in here, zip code. It's going to default for me to the zip code of the church, which this is our office address. You can also fill in the country if you so wish. Completely up to you, but fill in all their address information. You do have the option to mark it unlisted if you don't want it to print in your directory. Also, you have an option for some bulk mailing information. If this is something you do with your post office, feel free to fill that in. And then you have a family alternate. So if this family has a place, we're in Ohio, let's say the family has a place in Florida, you can put in their Florida address and then the effective dates they are at their Florida address, and then it will override their family main and use this address when the effective dates are in play, or are occurring, I should say. Okay, but if they don't have an alternate address, just skip right over that. Make sure their family main address is in there and say okay. So now over to the left, you can see address says 1. If they had more than 1, you could hit the down arrow and see the details here. If you need to edit it or delete it, you have the pencil to edit and the red minus to delete. Down here at the bottom, this is the primary phone for the family. Put that phone number, oops, I missed a character, there we go. put the phone number in there for the primary family. A lot of families don't have home phones anymore, so you can put a primary person's phone number for their cell phone in there if you wish, okay? So this is how you create the family record here on the left. You also have several tabs across the left that you can utilize here if you need to. So if there's additional family information you fill in for people, that can be done here, like a mailing code, geographic area, or even an alternate phone. Comments, this is just an open comment field. You can type in whatever you want about this family and you can pull it out on reports. Photo, we've done a webinar on this, excuse me, but if you have a family directory, photo directory you want to print, you can add their picture here and get a nice directory. You have an other tab here. This would be if, say, the parents are split and you want to link the child to mom's family and dad's family. You can use this button here. There's a webinar on this as well. And then files and documents. So if you have any type of document that you want to add to this family record, you can do that here, right? So I've seen like marriage licenses or baptism certificates, things like that, whatever it might be, you can add a file and have that linked with this family record over here on the left. Get back to that first tab that has the family name, and that'll get you back to the screen that you're used to seeing. Okay? All right, so we have successfully created the family record. Now we're going to come over here to the right and we're going to need to do add individual. This is how we put each person that makes up the family into this household. You have to have a first name. You can put in a nickname if they have one, and if you want the software to override their first name and use their nickname, just check use nickname, and then feel free to put in a middle name as well. Title and suffix are optional. The only field down here that the program requires you to fill in about this individual is this directory report order field, okay? This is specifying who's who within the family. You have primary, secondary, child with family, secondary, primary separately, and individual separately. Primary. Every household has to have a primary person in it, okay? So if it's a family of one person or a family of 5, one person in that family needs to be the primary, and you can only have one primary, okay? Secondary, that's going to be the primary's spouse or partner. Child, pretty straightforward. All kids in the family are going to have that 3 child with family. Secondary, primary separately, this would be used for printing a directory. So if you have a couple and they have different last names, you want one person to be the primary and then their spouse or partner to be the secondary primary separately. What that will do, say we have Bob Smith and Betty Brown, for example, when you print the directory, they will show down in the S's with Smith and they will show in the B's with Brown. That way, if you have a couple with 2 different last names and say you only know one of their last names, you'll be able to find them in the directory either way. Okay? Individual separately, this code 5, this would be used if you have a individual in the family that when you print the directory, you want them to show separately. So this is good for like a young adult, kid in college, or you could use this too if an elderly parent comes back to live with their child. This will keep them in the family, but print them as their own entity or own unit in the directory. Okay? All these other fields are customizable. When you get the software, there's going to be default fields in here, but if you want to customize them or change the order, right here to the right, you have that Customize Fields button. You can add new fields, you can get rid of fields that aren't required, and you can change the order for fields as well. Okay? All right, so we have Mitch in there. I'm going to hit Save. Then I'm going to come back up here to Add Individual again, and I'm going to put the next person. So I'm going to put myself. And you can tab through all of these fields, which make things really easy. And then I'm going to jump down here to directory report order, and I'm going to be secondary, okay? Also, when all these fields get filled in, you only need to do directory report order first. Program will let you move forward, but as you gather more information about these people, you can come down through these lists and fill that in. Something else I would like to point out, over here on the left, you have an age column and a family relation column. The age column is calculated based on someone's birthday. Pop my birthday in here. Once you get the birthday filled in entirely, so all 8 digits have to be filled in, then when you look back over here to the left, you're going to see that that age box is calculated, okay? Family relation, that is specific to this field here. You're going to get the database with preset fields, but if you want to come in here and adjust the fields in here, you can. I'm going to just put parent in there. Once that gets filled in, then at quick glance, you'll be able to see that information. Okay. All right, back up to the top. Let's add my boys. Put that in here. All the name information you have. Now, since this is my child, I'm going to do again 3 child with directory. Any other information you know, you can pop down in here. Let's put his birthday in here. Once you save it, look over to the left, you can now see that that age is calculated. Okay. All right, one more kiddo. Let's get Emmett in here. Anything you know about them, their gender, pop that in, birthday. And of course that directory report order. If you don't put that directory report order in there, it is going to bark at you. So make sure you put that in, okay? But now if we look over to the left, when we go to my family, and I look up Rachel, for example, you can see my whole family now is going to be listed over here on the left and with their ages listed as well. Okay, so let's say I got more information about Emmett. I can click on him, pop over here, fill in the information, hit save, jump back over to Mitch, put some of his information in, and hit save. All right, pretty straightforward. You also have several tabs across the top over here on the left. Groups and classes. We have webinars on all of these, so if you want more information, please check that out on the Resource Center. You can assign Mitch to a group or class. You can fill in his skills and interest. Address, phone, email field. This is like a digital Rolodex, if you will. So any contact information that you have filled in would show here. If Mitch had his own unique address, you could put that address in here and it would only be specific to this person, to Mitch. Open comments field as well. Photo of Mitch, say he's on a committee and you want to print a committee directory. If you add individual photos, you could do that here. Again, these are all previously done webinars you can watch. Files and documents, same thing. If you need to add a file about someone, you can do so here. Okay, so that's adding a family. Lots of options, lots of different things to make sure you get inputted. All right, now let's talk about assigning a giver number. You can, in fact, assign a giver number here in membership, as long as you have access to create giver numbers, which would be set up in your security settings in special functions and then security, okay? So what field you are going to be looking for is the giver number field. You may have a scroll bar down at the bottom. Make sure you're utilizing that because a lot of times the giver number or the envelope number field is going to be off to the right, or you may have a scroll bar here to scroll down. Just depends on how your screen is set up. But first thing we need to do, Mitch and I are going to give together. We are going to be one giving unit. We want one statement. We are going to pledge together. So me and Mitch need to be linked together accordingly. Okay, what we call that is gives with family. I'm going to highlight Mitch first, and I'm going to come over to the right, and I'm going to click this Manage Giver Numbers box. This is going to open the Manage Numbers screen from the Donations module. First thing I'm going to do right here is I'm going to click Gives with Family. And that's going to tell the software that Mitchell needs to give with his family. Okay. Same thing, I can now close out of here. I'm going to go to Rachel, manage giver numbers, and I'm going to check Rachel gives with family as well. So the software knows because Mitch and Rachel are in the same household or same family in membership, and when I check them gives with family, that tells the software that they give together. So when our donation statement prints, you're going to see this. So if I hit the down arrow, you have each individual that makes up my family listed here, which is correct, but you're going to see a fifth listing. This is going to be my family record or my family listing. So because Mitch and Rachel are both checked gives with family, if I want to assign a number, I need to assign it to this family record, okay? So I'm going to come here to the right. Once I selected our family record, I'm going to hit add new number, and I'm going to input what number I want our family to be. I'm going to put 789 in there, and I'm going to have it start 1124. So as long as this number is available, I can choose a start date that number is available. Now, if somebody had this number November 2nd, then, or February 2nd, then I would have to have a date of after when that number ended for someone else. So start dates and end dates for giver numbers is crucial for when you assign them and who can have what number. But I'm going to do 789, and I'm going to have it start the 1st of this year, and I'm going to click OK. So now in this list, you can see Mitchell and Rachel Klein. They have number 789, and it started 1124. Okay, let me close this screen. And now in membership, if we highlight Mitch and we look over to the right, you can see Mitch is showing number 789. And if I highlight Rachel, Rachel is also showing number 789. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Now the two kids, I'm not going to check them as part of the giving unit for the family. You can if you want to. Doesn't hurt anything. I do not think it's necessary to check children gives with family. So just the adults that give together. Okay. Now, if you have access to donations, so say your membership person went in and assigned the number or assigned, let me say that better. If whomever your membership person is, if they went in and created your family in membership and you're the donations person, and let's say you need to go in and get the family linked together in donations and assign their number in donations. Let's close out a membership, and I will show you how to do that in donations. So this process can be done the exact same way, but just in the donation side. So go up to givers up at the top, go into manage numbers. This is going to open that exact same screen we were just using over in membership. The difference to this screen here in donations is that you are going to see everyone and what the current giver number is or are for those people. Now what you can do in the giver box, look for an individual here, just like we did over in membership. Let's see if I can find a couple that isn't linked together. I don't know if I have one off the top of my head. Let's try Brian. So Brian, Ellie, we're going to select him, go to the right, checks gives with family. Looks like he has a pledge, so I'm going to say yes, I want to assign it to the family. And then we'll go back to the giver box and find Brian's spouse. We'll say it's Annie. We'll check Annie gives with family. Looks like she had some pledges as an individual. That's okay. We'll click through that. And now, because they're both checked gives with family, we want to go to Mr. and Mrs. and hit add new number. And then we're going to assign what number they should have and when it should start. Okay, so it's basically the same process in the manage numbers screen. It's just whether you get to it from donations or whether you pull that donation screen over in membership.